Chuck Todd, I want to ask you about all the stories circulating around Rahm Emanuel.
Sure.
Rarely do you see a chief of staff, not since the days with really controversial chiefs of staff, Sununu, Regan, who ended up out of office.
I would go back to Jim Baker, I think. We haven't seen Rahm and Jim Baker were very similar styles, I think, wouldn't you say?
Well, I was just going to say we don't see so many stories about White House conflict in many, many years, because there wasn't that much conflict with Jim Baker, who left on a high when he went from the White House to Treasury. But here you've got stories. It's so rare for this White House, which has been in sync all along, to see the stories saying that Emanuel is not responsible for the problems, that if his advice had been taken. How is that being absorbed by Axelrod, Gibbs, and the other, campaign contingent, especially the Chicagoans?
Look, you can tell it makes them uncomfortable. Today, Gibbs was asked about it at the morning gaggle, and he simply said, when you look at when decisions have been made, nobody's been a tougher, a harder worker or a better advocate than the chief of staff. But there's clearly some tension that the fact that this is even out there. The Dana Milbank column that was written in the Washington Post a couple weeks ago, which had that very provocative quote that said the only person keeping Barack Obama from becoming Jimmy Carter is Rahm Emanuel, that didn't go over well. And you got to remember, Andrea, during the campaign, and you know this well, we covered this campaign so closely, you didn't have this in Team Obama world. This is very much something that was, for better or for worse, expected out of the Clinton world or even McCain world. And Rahm Emanuel comes out of Clinton world a little bit, where it wasn't frowned upon if this stuff happened. Bill Clinton, this didn't bother Bill. It used to bother Hillary Clinton. This didn't bother Bill Clinton as much as it really does. This is where Barack Obama and George W. Bush are very similar. They do not like this stuff going public.
Well, is it going to continue? Can it continue?
Well,
or does somebody have to hit the door?
Right. The problem is it going to continue? On one hand, they believe there's no there. When you read the Post story very closely, there's no news nugget out of it, right? It's just sort of more an expansion of the Milbank column. The worry the White House has is that more news organizations are going to check into this, and because there is something there, it's just not as big as maybe it's being played.